G'day legends, welcome back to Mies Mods. I hope you're all doing well. My name's Mitch, for those that haven't met me. Today we're doing the newest Gran Turismo time trial, and we're also doing some online racing, and to top all of that off, we're doing it all in VR. Stick around, let's get to it. All right, jumping straight into this. This is the current Gran Turismo 7 time trial challenge. We are racing around the Dragon Tail Garden Circuit in a Radical SR3 SL 2013 vintage. Great year, that one. It's actually quite a fun little car. I have never raced in it before. We have given it a few tasty little treats. In terms of modifications, we've done a racing balance and tune, polished the ports. It's got a racing intercooler, air filter, and exhaust. And we've also gone and put some big carbon ceramic discs on it. Now, when I modified this last night, I was a little bit of a muppet. Did all those modifications and then forgot to modify the brake pads. So I'm not quite sure how much difference that's going to make in terms of timings, but I'll have to go and add those at a later date and give it another crack. Now, there are a few other modifications I could have done to this car. I could have added a dirty big old turbocharger to it, but the fact that we were limited to racing hards, I kind of wanted to go a little bit easier on the power mod side of house just in case it made it too much. And I mean, I was setting pretty decent times, well, at least I think I was setting pretty decent times with it how it was. So I split this time trial session up into 2 sessions. You guys are going to see 3 laps out of this. The first lap, which we're watching now, is my sighting lap. I got pretty lucky with this one. I set my fastest overall lap time on the second lap. But as you guys are aware, I'm also trying to learn to race manual at the moment. So I did a second session, had a second crack at this where I tried to race in manual just to see what the time difference was between like automatic skills and manual racing skills. And it was closer than I was expecting. Still faster in the automatic. I'll keep exactly the time differences a secret until we get to that point of the video. So yeah. This little part down the bottom of the hill is actually quite tricky. I like to call it the 4-banger because it's 4 right-hand turns, all kind of linking into one. If you can get it right, it's like one big corner. But if you get it wrong, it scrubs so much speed and it's very easy to end up on the grass. So yeah, it's this track is just the perfect mix of like speed and technical stuff, and it looks harder than it is, so it's actually quite fun. Particularly with a nimble sort of quick little car like this one. It was a good time. So as we come into the fastest lap I did in this session, I'm going to talk my way through this, telling you guys what I was looking for in terms of braking points and stuff. So coming up, the last sign on the right there, that was my point to let off. I don't actually brake for this first corner. I just let it off and let the car roll through until the nose is pointing out the front, then I'm back on the thing. Looking for the 100 marker for this one. Jump on. You want to cut the corner a little bit, but not too much where you drop a tire onto the grass. Make sure you miss these sausage rolls on these corners as you come through that little chicane section. They are absolutely savage. They will get your car completely airborne and ruin any chance you have of a good lap time. Coming down the back here, I'm looking for about the 125 meter marks, somewhere between the 100 and 150 marker there. That's my brake point for this. A little cut over the ripple strip on the corner just to carry as much speed as I possibly could on the way out. This next little section is pretty much flat out. Just cutting the ripple strips to try and straighten it out. Letting off a little bit and a quick dab of the brakes for this one. You can kind of slide it through fairly well. Again on the brakes just to keep this one in nice and tidy. Now as I come down the hill here, once I hit the very bottom, I'm going to jump on the brakes and then trail brake on the way through into the 4-bangers here. This car responds really well to riding the brake just a little bit when you're going through corners. It kind of hunkers it down and sort of tucks it into the corner quite well. Got through the 4-bangers pretty well. I'm looking for the part where the guardrail finishes and the ripple strip starts. That's my braking point for this one. Turning in a little bit early to try and cut the ripple strip just that little bit to try and make this all one big corner. Once I could see the finish line, I was on the noisy pedal and gunning it for the finish line. Now, for some reason, I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but whenever I set a hot lap or a fast lap, I always bin the first corner of the next lap. And this instance was no different. I managed to completely stuff this up and then it just all went downhill from here. Big shake of the head. The toys are out of the cot. The tantrum's been thrown. And we're coming in close now to have a chat with Barry R and his good friend Gravel Pit. So that was my fastest lap. We had a 1:41.925. Now we're jumping into my fastest manual lap. Now it's worth mentioning that I'm not that good at the manuals yet. I'm getting better, getting faster, but there are still a few money shifts and over revs. I haven't quite got the timing down pat yet for where to ring the car out as far as I can, but I always seem to change as I hit that first rev limiter bounce, which is not ideal. So I do lose a little bit there. And there are a couple of corners where I get a little bit trigger happy on the downshifts and probably go a bit quicker. I do actually like quite a few aspects of the manual racing experience though. So I've noticed that the car actually pulls in nicer and tighter for corners because you can use the brakes to slow you down with it. Not the brakes, sorry, the engine to slow you down rather than the brakes. So it kind of hunkers the car down. And it also tends to pull up a bit quicker as well because you can use the gears to slow yourself down at the same time as you're braking. So I found the usual braking points I had were a little bit different when I was racing in manual compared to automatic. I think I can get manual to be just as quick as automatic. I just need to practice it a bit more. And I don't think it's so much the manual per se. I think I just need to learn each car and like what gears are kind of referenced for what corner. Now, I know you got the little red numbers up there, but they're not always accurate and it doesn't necessarily flow with what you're trying to do. But it's improving, so that's the main thing. That's what we're all here for. I got very squirrely coming through this four-banger section here. Almost binned it completely. Another big shake of the head. I wasn't happy with this lap. I honestly thought it was going to be slow. And I don't think I did very well through the last corner here either. So when I actually did this lap, I wasn't overly happy with it, but it turned out to be the fastest lap of my manual session. And it's worth noting I did probably another 10 or so laps on both automatic and manual in these sessions, but they're all after I set the fastest laps. So it wasn't really worth watching. There was nothing of any interest there. So as you can see, we have done a 1:43.286. We're about a second and a half behind the times we were setting in automatic. Now, I do think that I could probably cut that down to be as fast or faster if I just commit the time to sit here and learn it properly, which I am aiming to do. It's just going to be a gradual thing. But the important part is there is improvement. The times aren't that far apart now, so we are getting better. Anyway, moving on. We are going to jump over to an online race on one of my favorite tracks, Laguna Seca, at GR3. Let's just say this one's a bit of an interesting experience. Jumping straight into this, we're in the Audi R8 LMS Evo 2019 model. A few little mods done to it, a few power mods. This race was actually pretty scrappy at the beginning, as you're about to see. I had an absolute shocker when it came to qualifying. I got one lap done out of probably 5 or 6. I just couldn't seem to put a whole lap together properly, but we got one. We qualified in 4th, which was further up the pack than I was expecting, so definitely can't complain about that. All right, as we come in for the race beginning, just resetting the view, making sure the VR is looking straight ahead. We're getting ready. So coming into this one, my aim was just to take it a little bit easy. As we all know, I'm in the middle of the pack. The first corner is usually chaos on this track, and I went in fairly cautiously. You'll see I actually back off earlier than I probably needed to, a little bit, just to give everyone a bit of extra space. And then I get shunted from behind and end up collecting old mate that was in front of me. Unfortunately, I picked up a 2-second penalty out of this. I don't quite understand why, but, you know, Gran Turismo things, you just got to deal with it. Carrying on, we sort of just slot back in here, sort of in tying for 7th at the moment. Get around this corner, not too bad. Trying to set myself up for this next one. Again, still being relatively cautious at this point. A little bit more aggressive than I was at the start, but there was another driver, decided I was in his way and decided to push me off the track. Again, not much I can really do about this. It takes us all the way down to dead last as I get crossed up trying to get out of the gravel trap. So now we've definitely got our work cut out for us. We are 14th of 14th, dead last. A little trip into the gravel pit. An unplanned trip to the gravel pit, but we've already regained one, moving up into 13th place. Now I know I can be relatively quick on this track. It is one of my favourite tracks. I know it quite well. So I had a pretty good confidence about me that I could at least make up some positions again. So we're currently trying to chase down the Japanese duo in front of us. Trying to just sneak up behind 12th and just wait for our opportunity to pounce or for someone to crash. So a sneaky little pass opportunity on the last corner there. There we go. Moving up to 12th, tucked in behind the Aussie. Serving our penalty. And the place we just gained is gone. All right, back on the chase. No penalties. Let's see what we can do. Coming up to the first corner, no longer being overly cautious. There's lots of opportunities here for people to make mistakes. The guy in 12th going a little bit wide there. Didn't really give too much away, but we are slowly reeling him in. He's been that corner as well. Admittedly, I nearly followed him off into the dirt. But we are in 12th, trying to track down number 11. There's a little battle going on ahead of us here. We're just kind of waiting to see what goes on here, and as expected, they've kind of binned each other. We move up into 10th, trying to push for 9th, but we're just not quite going to get there, so I back out to let him get around the corner in time. He then bins it anyway, so we push up the inside, and the Japanese guy on the left there. So we are now up into 8th. So we've gone from 4th to 14th to 8th. Coming through the little corkscrew here. That guy bins it as well, up into 7th. So that's not a bad effort for a lap and a bit. We've lost it all and we've almost gained it all back. A little bit of open air in front of us now as we just try to put down some clean laps and catch up to the group that's in front of us. It's kind of nice when you get a little bit of space like this because you don't have to worry so much about what everybody else is trying to do around you. You can kind of just focus on your own race and do your best to try and run fast, smooth and clean laps. So for this point, for the next sort of half a lap or so, it's kind of just like a time trial event for me. I'm just trying to keep it clean, practice the corners, get in there as much as I can. Trying to chase down this Australian now. He's going to push wide here and we're just going to sneak past him. So overall, pretty clean pass, moving up into 6th place. We're back on this corner where it all went wrong in the first lap. Got through there unscathed. Someone else has just binned it in front of us, up to 5th. So far I think I've only overtaken one person that was actually driving. Everybody else just seems to keep crashing around us. Kind of like parting the seas. We're just kind of striding through the center here. But I blew that corner a little bit, pushed it a touch wide. Can't talk tonight. But yes, so now we're up into 5th position on the 3rd lap, or the end of the 3rd lap. We're trying to chase down the current car that's in 4th. We do actually manage to catch up to him. He's got a penalty here, so we should be able to either sneak past him or get pretty close to him. Yeah, we'll get past him. There you go, up into 4th position. 2nd last lap, coming down the main straight. Again, plenty of air around us, nice and easy, no pressure at this point. I did find I was kind of getting nervous for myself for some reason. I don't know if it was just because we had such a shocking run at the beginning and just getting punted around the field a little bit. But I started to make a few silly mistakes here. The heart was racing and the brain kind of just disengaged for a little bit. Took me sort of half a lap to calm it back down. Again, no idea why this happened, it just did. And started making a few silly little mistakes. That looks like we've got another Australian up in front. We're going to try and reel him in. I definitely had him in terms of pace. Either he just kept making a few little mistakes, but I just couldn't seem to reel him in as quickly as I would like. Gets a little bit crossed up coming through the corkscrew there, so we're right on his tail, putting the pressure on. The problem here is I end up putting the pressure on myself too. And as I was saying before, it just caused a few little cracks to show. I think that's an experience thing on my end. I'm just not very used to the whole online thing. Pushed in a little hard there. Didn't actually contact the back of his car, but it was pretty damn close. Pushed myself wide through the corner as well, which didn't help. We've got the tow as we go down the main straight here. Not looking to make a move just yet. We're just going to see what he does. He's pushed wide, so we managed to sneak past him here, which is pretty good. Start setting up for the next one. He gave us a little bit of a shunt to get back in, which I wasn't overly impressed with at the time. And yes, so we're going to try and chase this guy down now. We are on the last lap, so we're running out of time if we're going to get on a podium. So we're just going to stick to his back end, see if he makes any mistakes, keep the pressure on him, and just hope he stuffs something up. But overall, so far we have gone from 4th to 14th, and we've made it back to 4th. We were in 3rd briefly. So we're essentially back to where we started. Again, putting the pressure on myself a little bit too much there, just pushing a little bit wide through that corner, braking just that touch too late. I've kind of given him his lead back here. Trying to throw it through, again, just trying to keep in his rear view mirror, just so he knows I'm there. Hoping the pressure is on and he might decide he wants to ruin something. But he got through the last corner relatively unscathed. There is a guy on my tail, as you can see in the rear view mirror, but it's not going to matter. We're going to cross the line in 4th. We almost had our first racing podium, but it was not meant to be. Overall, not too unhappy with how I drove in that race. The first lap was a bit rough, but I think we made a pretty good comeback. Admittedly, everyone kind of just crashed in front of us and we just drove past them. So definitely can't complain on that front. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap up our racing for this session. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider smashing that like and subscribe button. It definitely helps the channel out and I just really appreciate it if you do. If you guys have any questions about the gear that I'm running, whether it's the PSVR2 or the new Logitech Pro racing wheels and pedals or any of the other gear that I'm running, feel free to leave a comment down below. I do my best to get back to every one of them. Other than that, thanks for hanging out. I will see you guys on the next one. Stay safe and take it easy.